kids now for me. My kids grew up a lot at that instant, at that moment, you know. And because they had to be home by themselves, doing their schoolwork by themselves, because we all had to work. Sorry, I didn't realize how noisy that was in the car, so I'll finish it up here with the girls behind me. Yeah, so the kids were by themselves doing their schoolwork here, and we were working, you know, working in healthcare. If any of you are working in healthcare, you know how difficult it was last year, and they took all of our vacation away. Well, just suspended it. They didn't take any time away from us. They just didn't allow us because we didn't know what was going to happen, how much staff we were going to need. So that was, I think, the most difficult part, because you always need that time to wind down, recharge. You need that time off, time away, and we didn't get that. So I think that was the biggest hurdle that I had, that I wasn't able to do stuff here at home, because it's very peaceful here. I really enjoy being home, and that was very, very difficult. And it was a really dark, sad time for a lot of us. It was very scary, you know, we're around all these COVID patients. We don't know really what's happening. And so in about June, you know, I sat down with my son. I said, hey, bud, do you think you could help me make a YouTube channel? Maybe that would take my mind off of things. You know, just kind of document the things that I want to do in the garden. And the bugs are really bad out this morning. And, you know, help me. So he helped me get the whole channel set up. And I've just been plugging along, doing this, doing that. You know, sometimes you feel like doing it, sometimes you don't. But I think just having some accountability and being like, hey, shoot, I need to show everybody what's going on, and it kind of keeps me going, and that's how I got started. And I'm allergic to pretty much any animal with hair. So when we were thinking about getting chickens, I went to my cousin's house to see if I could be around chickens, because, you know, you have an animal and you want to be around them, and lo and behold, I am not allergic to animals with feathers, so it's really nice. See, they want to get at me right now. But it's been really fun. It's been awesome learning new things, learning about chickens, raising, you know, we raised so far these girls from little chicks, and it's been very interesting. We've become quite close to the chickens. And they were kind of the first thing, well, the second thing, to continue our sustainability. That's pretty much what our goal kind of is to help self-sustain some things throughout the year. It was a great feeling that when everything shut down and it was really hard to get food at the grocery stores, that, you know, we buy half a cow every year, and we just started with a pig. We got half a pig last year. Going through that freezer when everything was closed up, and knowing that I had 2 months worth of food. I mean, yes, towards the end you got to get creative, but I had 2 months worth of meat in my freezer, and that was like such an amazing feeling. And I think at that point I could, you know, everybody's like freaking out, where am I going to get food? Where am I going to get food? Because that's the main thing that you need to worry about, is feeding your family. And between the canned vegetables that I had on the shelf in my basement and the meat in my freezer, and, you know, we had some potatoes left, and, you know, you got to get creative. And, you know, it gave some comfort knowing that we had these things. So that also too is the motivation to keep going. And, you know, I don't want a ton of stuff. I want enough vegetables in my basement to last me to the end of the following season. You know, I don't need 300 jars of green beans, you know, which I usually end up with a lot of green beans. But, like, you understand what I'm saying. It's like I don't want to overdo it either. And, you know, I'm trying to find that balance of working full-time and then trying to be home and enjoy things here, because I really, really enjoy being home. When I bought this house, when I stepped foot in this house, it gave you one of those feelings of calm feeling, comfortable, just welcoming. You know, the house is completely empty. We're like, oh, let's look at this house. And it was just so weird how this house fell into our laps. Yes, it was built in 1939. It has we have a ton of work to do to it. It needs so many things. And we're starting with the infrastructure stuff. So I will wander around through that and show you that. So you know what that means. That's money, a lot of money that you've spent of things that you're not necessarily going to see. So, you know, that's been a struggle for me because I'm a huge Dave Ramsey fan and we're trying to become debt free and pay everything off. So that way, you know, we can do more things and have the availability to build chicken runs and be able to enjoy things. So I guess you kind of got to start out with a plan. It's like, what do you want to do in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? You know, I'm 42 years old. And I have sat down and said, what do I want to do? I've been in healthcare for 20 years now, and I don't want to be one of those lifers that I'm like, yay, I've worked at this hospital for 50 years. I don't really see that as a big prize anymore. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm totally not. I'm saying it's not for everybody. So I've had a chance to really sit down and think about what we want to do, what I would like to do, you know, and, you know, I was never that huge, I want to stay home with my kids, stay at home mom kind of thing. But now that my kids are getting older, they're more self-sufficient, they're a huge help these days too. So that's a big factor too. It's like I do want to spend more time at home. I want to spend more time with the chickens, you know, in the garden, doing a lot of things. And if you do any of these things, you know it's hard work. It's physical work. It's like I always say, I do more physical work at home than I do at work. And it's tiring. But I figured rounding it out. So I got about 10 years. So I've been at the hospital for 20 years now. And I figured, let's get a 10-year plan in place. So we want to pay off everything except the house. We'd like to pay the house off, but there's many things that we have to do to get to that 10-year plan. We'd like a couple of rentals. We live in an absolutely beautiful area in upstate New York. Like, I'm 2 miles from my mom's house where I grew up, and she's in the Adirondack Park, and I'm just outside the Adirondack Park. You know, we're like 10 minutes from Lake George. We just live in a really great area, and our goal is to just have a couple of vacation rentals, very, very nice vacation rentals, and have that as, you know, part of our income. And that way I can focus on something like that, have the time to focus on that, but still have enough time to be home and be able to do the things that I want to around here. And, you know, I'd like to get into flower gardening too, you know, and a lot of this takes so much time. So that's really our end goal. You know, have no car payments, no credit card payments, like nothing. The only thing we'll have at that point is the house, and then we'll pluck away at that and get everything paid off. So that's really my goal. I'm a simple person, and I really want to live a simple life. And coming home here after work every day is very relaxing. This is my happy place, and I'd like to spend more time here. So that is our goal. So this is the view from our backyard. It's the back of our house, back of the garage. My new greenhouse, the garden. This is the first time I have had to water my garden in a long time. I think I've probably watered it like 3 times over the whole summer. The shed, and then the coop. Hey girls. It's been so hot the past couple days, poor babies. Trying to keep them cool. Then we did, we were waiting for this chicken door to come, and it's still not here yet. So we ordered like a cheaper version of this automatic chicken door. It's like if you live anywhere near us. Ooh, I know you're gonna jump on me. It gets really cold in the winter, and just to be able to have that open automatically is a great thing. What? Hi, girl. I know, she wants to jump up on me, I can tell. These barred rocks love to hang out on my shoulder like a parrot, huh? Ah! So I also wanted to show you where I came from. And this is where I grew up. Sorry, she's a little shaky. But, here we go. This is my original home. So this is my mom's quarter-mile driveway. This is the yard. Shed. And log cabin in the woods. This was my playground. And something that you're really gonna love. And if you can hear how peaceful it is out here. This is a brook in front of my mom's house. And we have our own personal waterfall. I'll bring you down to show you that. So my mom owns 86 acres. It's all wooded. It's all rocky and wooded. There's up behind here, you can see it when there's no leaves on the trees. There's a mountain over there. So this is some of my why also. I grew up out here in the middle of the woods on 86 acres, and yes, as a child I took it for granted. I, felt like I was stuck here. And the more I'm away from it, the more I feel that this is an absolutely gorgeous place. And I definitely appreciate this as an adult. And it's absolutely beautiful up here. I mean, who wouldn't want to walk out their front door and listen to this? There's a bridge up there. And at least I was smart and I wore my boots. So, yeah, this is like a kid's paradise here. It's a little slippery. Well, let's just see if I can get across. I mean, check that out. Isn't that amazing? And this is the water coming down. Now this is all spring fed. So towards the top of the mountain, the water comes right out of the ground and ends up here. There. I got all the way around, and then I'll show you the bridge. We have a really big problem with beavers around here. Although I have to say, when I was little, we used to get our water from this brook. We had a pump down at the bottom, and it pumped the water up to the house. then the beavers became such a problem, and back then there was a problem with beaver fever. So my parents had to drill a well. And actually this was full last month. It was full all the way up to the top of the bridge here. My brother had to come down and get a lot of the beaver remnants out, the sticks and stuff, get it out, because this was all like a absolute marshy pond. You probably could have swam in it. But here's the little bridge. And the water comes out here and down over the rocks. So wonderful, so peaceful. I don't know if you could probably see it up through the woods. That's the top of the mountain. On the other side of that mountain is Lake George. So if I go to the top of that mountain, I could see the south end of parts of Lake George. And this is what we call the header. It's just kind of pretty much the only real open area that we have. This is as far as I'm gonna walk. The bugs are nasty, nasty, nasty. And the deer are abundant up here, that's for sure. And this was our playground. My mom has worked really hard to keep things mowed and keep things down. It wasn't quite this open when we were little, but I think she's been doing a pretty good job. It's just so peaceful out here. So this is what I get to look at. Look at that beauty in the back. So peaceful. So this is a big part of my why.